Welcome to Cars with Kasey, Episode 3. Today we will be discussing the issues with car prices. The year is 1970, and you are shopping for your new sports car. You have an average salary of $9,870, and gasoline costs an average of 36 cents to the gallon. You live an average life, so you want a sports car that changes that. So you visit 3 different car dealerships. You focus on the experience of driving rather than the interior features, like many other sports car enthusiasts. Your first choice is a 1970 Dodge Challenger RT. The car costs $3,266, giving you a 335 horsepower V8 and a 3-speed manual transmission. Adjusted for inflation, that car is worth about $25,648 in 2023. And the car is worth roughly 33% of your yearly salary. And the car also gives you 11 miles to the gallon, which is about 301,583 miles on a yearly salary. Your second choice is a 1970 Chevrolet Camaro Z28. The Z28 costs $3,411.95, giving you a 360 horsepower V8 with either a 3-speed automatic or a 4-speed manual. With inflation in mind, this car is worth about $26,795 in 2023, and the car is worth roughly 35% of your yearly salary. The car gets a slightly better miles per gallon at 12 miles to the gallon, and an annual salary will get you about 3,029 miles with the Z28. Your third and final choice is the 1970 Ford Mustang Mach-1. The Mach-1 costs $3,271, which gives you a 250 horsepower V8, a 3-speed manual, making the Mach-1 the weakest choice of the bunch. Adjusted for inflation, the Mustang costs $25,688 in 2023, making it worth about 33% of your annual salary. The Mach-1 does achieve the best miles per gallon on list at 13 miles to the gallon, and the Mach-1 can go 356,417 miles on your annual salary. Fast forward to 2023 when someone wants to do the same. They make an average salary of $80,610. The local gas prices are also average at $3.52. They hit the same 3 dealers and look at the latest of those 3 models. The first option is a 2023 Dodge Challenger RT. The car costs $55,000 and offers a V8 that produces 375 horsepower, paired to either a 6-speed manual or an 8-speed automatic. The car is worth about 69% of their salary, over double the portion of 1970. The RT does achieve 18 miles to the gallon, and on an annual salary in 2023, the car will go 412,000 miles. The buyer goes to their second dealership, which is offering a 2023 Chevrolet Camaro ZL1. The car is valued at an eye-watering $68,000, but gives an impressive 650 horsepower V8 in either a 6-speed manual or a 10-speed automatic. The car burdens about 84% of their annual salary. The car also gives 18 miles to the gallon and will achieve the same miles as the Dodge Challenger. Their third and final option in 2023 is the Ford Mustang Mach-1. Valued at $57,945, the car offers a 470 horsepower V8 paired with either a 6-speed manual or a 10-speed automatic. The car is still not light for the wallet and is worth 71% of their annual salary. The car achieves a slightly lower 17 miles to the gallon, achieving 389,000 miles on a yearly salary. So if the new cars can't meet the price points of their original counterparts, what can meet the price points for those brands? Adjusted for inflation, the 1970 Dodge Challenger RT would cost $27,000 in 2025. Today, you cannot buy any car from Dodge at that price. The lowest priced car you can get is the Hornet, starting at $29,995, 11% more expensive than the sports car. The Dodge Hornet is a rebadged Alfa Romeo Tonale and is a true 5-door crossover. The Hornet has less power than the 1970 Challenger at 268 horsepower. The Hornet also has a slower 0 to 60 time than the 1970 equivalent. Luckily, the Hornet achieves 24 miles per gallon and will get 273 miles per an average hourly wage. From Chevrolet, the Camaro Z28 was the equivalent of about $28,000 in 2025. Currently, you can get two different wagons from Chevy for this price. The first is the Chevrolet Trax, a small 5-door wagon. The Trax has a 1.2-liter inline-3 that only produces 137 horsepower, far less than the 360 horsepower of the Z28. The Trax also is a much slower car than the Z28, but the Trax does achieve 30 miles per gallon and will get 341 miles per an average hourly wage. You could also purchase a Chevrolet Trailblazer, which is another small 5-door wagon. The all-wheel drive configuration allows for a 1.3-liter inline-3 that produces 150 horsepower and is paired with a 9-speed automatic. The inline-3 version offers 155 horsepower and is still slower than the 1970 model. The front-wheel drive configuration offers either the Trax's 1.2-liter or the 1.3-liter from the all-wheel drive. The Trailblazer is slightly smaller and achieves about the same miles per gallon as the Chevrolet Trax. Ford's target price is about $27,000 in 2025. Even Ford's lowest priced vehicle, the not Maverick, cannot be had for this price anymore, starting at $28,000. The formerly affordable Ute would be the most compelling vehicle for its price point, except that it no longer meets the $22,000 starting price that it gained momentum from. The Ute comes with either front-wheel drive or all-wheel drive. The front-wheel drive configuration comes with a 2.5-liter inline-4 hybrid powertrain that produces 191 horsepower. The Ute in front-wheel drive almost meets the 1970 standard and is only 0.3 seconds off the 7.1 seconds of the Ford Mustang Mach 1. The all-wheel drive configuration optionally has a 2-liter inline-4 that produces 250 horsepower, only raising the price of the Maverick by $125 to make a price of $28,256. The 2-liter option is the only available vehicle to beat the 1970 standard from the same company, but the Maverick still fails in its price point. The 2-liter inline-4 can do a 0 to 60 in just 5.9 seconds at the expense of its efficiency. The front-wheel drive hybrid can achieve a peak miles per gallon of 38 miles per gallon, allowing for 432 miles per average hourly wage. Meanwhile, the quicker 2-liter all-wheel drive achieves 25 miles per gallon, allowing for 285 miles per hourly wage, which is fairly close to its larger brother, the F-150. There is no need but greed for these prices. To make matters worse, these American brands often suffer very weak warranties, only lasting 3 years or 60,000 miles maximum. Even the truck prices don't make sense now. The incredible Kia Niro plug-in hybrid can be laden with features and have double the warranty, and would still cost less than Ford's cheapest work truck, the F-150. And in the event that EV mandates get worse, the car prices will only get worse as well. EV versions of the same vehicle often cost more than the same vehicle. The Chevrolet EVs often cost about $5,000 to $9,200 more than the same gas version. The EV Silverado, despite being a less capable Ute with less payload and less towing capacity, gets a price tag that is heftier by $36,000. While Dodge has no direct EV versus gas variations, the closest two are the 2023 Challenger and the 2025 Charger EV. The Challenger started at $35,000, whereas the EV starts at $60,000. For Ford, the Ford Mach-E is most closely related to vehicles like the Ford Escape, Maverick, and Bronco Sport. All three relatives are similar and have the option of the same 2-liter engine that produces 250 horsepower. For the Escape, the most inexpensive price for said engine is $33,000. For the Bronco Sport, that climbs to $40,000. And as stated earlier, a base model Maverick will do at $28,000. All three cars only have 16 horsepower shy of the base model Mach-E. All three have more storage space than the Mach-E, with the Ford Escape offering the most. And all three also have far superior range than the Mach-E. Worthy of mention is that the Ford Bronco Sport also comes with 4x4, which the Mach-E does not. So the Escape offers the most space, the Bronco Sport the most mobility, and the Maverick the most practicality, and the Mach-E is electric. But to get the base Mach-E, expect to drop at least $38,000. This gets you a basic wagon slightly cheaper and less capable than a Bronco Sport. But the Ford trucks aren't much better either. The base model F-150 starts at $37,500, but the electric version starts at $55,000. The base F-150 can carry 3,315 pounds and tow up to 8,200 pounds. The electric version can carry less at 2,235 pounds and tow about the same at 8,250 pounds. And this is a statistic that almost seems hidden by Ford. The electric version does achieve better efficiency and range than its worker equivalent, though. Oddly enough, the electric Transit from Ford costs less than its gas counterpart. The vans have about the same payload capacity, but the EV does suffer in other areas. Given the weaker EV's struggles, the $10,000 price drop seems fair for the electric Transit. There is light in this price tunnel, though. Ford only spends about $25,000 to build a new base model F-150, and that number includes aspects such as labor, materials, manufacturing, and overhead salaries. That gives Ford a profit of about $12,000 per base model F-150. Roughly 32% of a truck's price goes just to profit for Ford. Assuming each F-150 makes exactly $12,000 in profit, which likely isn't true, that means that Ford is making over $8.6 billion on just the F-Series alone in 2024. Thanks to Dodge, most of Ford's profits go to shareholders, and the rest likely goes to researching new vehicles. And yes, that is thanks to Dodge. In 1917, the Ford Motor Company had gained a surplus of $60 million. In 2025, that would be roughly the equivalent of $1.8 trillion. Ford had been repeatedly lowering the price of his halo car, the Model T, and at the same time was raising employee wages dramatically. Ford was a majority stockholder himself and sought to cancel all stocks temporarily to reinvest funds into research and production increases. These production increases would have opened a new factory and made car prices drop and opened many new high-paying jobs for Americans. Considering Ford was already struggling to build a car for every order, the new factory would help fix that problem. However, the Dodge brothers owned a 10% share in the Ford Motor Company, one of the largest share in the company behind Ford himself, and the brothers did not like Ford's plan. They sued to declare that a majority shareholder cannot outvote the minority shareholders, and the court ruled in Dodge's favor that companies must maximize profits to shareholders and not benefit others. The Dodge brothers took the money, sued from Ford to start a rival motor company or boost their motor company, now simply known as Dodge. Henry Ford was infuriated at this and threatened to leave the company to start his fourth car company to make the shares of Ford Motor Company weaker. Ford bought up all the remaining shares in the company before leaving the power of the company to his son, Edsel Ford. If companies were to behave like Henry Ford intended, they would make enough money to support the company, then reinvest it into opening jobs and reducing prices. Not only would a reversal of this case open jobs in the U.S., it could also reduce prices at the expense of shareholders making money by having money. A change in methods could hopefully reduce overhead costs as well. So here's to hoping that car prices may once again be reasonable. If you enjoyed this episode, please be reminded that you can find it on Spotify, Instagram, and YouTube simply by searching Cars with Kasey. On Instagram and YouTube, I can be found under the account name Tavling Appa. That's Tavling, Tavling, Appa, APA. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and I look forward to talking to you in the next.